Chapter 5. Part 2. Adrian was in the apartments given by the Queen of Olbiana to the ambassador of the Republic. In addition, he had the favor of the Queen. Her Majesty did not blame him for the defeat and defended him before the Senate of Caesala, which was a point in his favor to be appointed ambassador. Her Majesty's cousin, Countess Samela, lay in bed sleeping. She too bravely pleaded the general's cause. Although he loved Samra, Adrian thought it best never to be with just one woman. The Queen's cousin agreed to be second course, at least for the time being. He didn't care, within a week it would be another. The good thing about the Jewel of the South is that it was full of beautiful women. The newly appointed ambassador looked for a room where he could be alone and locked it. He knew very well the risks he ran in case he was discovered while performing the ritual, and he did not want to kill anyone. The orders were very clear: no witnesses. He opened the little wooden box painted black and took the stone out of it in the shape of a pinion. He put it inside his mouth, just under his tongue, and closed his eyes. From the first time she accepted to be part of society, the feeling when she closed her eyes was strange. He felt as if his insides were being torn out, and then he advanced through that white tunnel until he reached a palace without doors or windows, but that he could pass through its walls with tranquility. The last one arrived. The meeting had begun. The atmosphere was very heated. The defeat in the Iron War had been a hard blow, since their lord had promised them total victory. When he arrived, all eyes fell on him. As he was the last to be part of society, he was frowned upon by others for his lack of punctuality. But they hated him much more since he was one of the favorites of their lord, who was leaning on the throne with a gesture of weariness while listening to the laments of the vanquished. "We were promised the mines of Domemba, and I have lost my best dwarfs. My people now do not trust their king. There are rumors of conspiracies about me. No one is going to plot against you, Black Gem King." The one who interceded over those who were complaining was King Reginald of Arcio, who had long been a prominent figure in society. "No, but I have lost a lot of my popularity with this war. Now we have to pay a big tribute to the League. That will feed my opponents." Queen Lantiana also complained, although with a tone of resignation. At that moment General Adrian bowed to his lord. "My lord, thank you for saving my life. I swear that I will serve you even more devotedly." Everyone was surprised by Adrian's words. For most it was a sign of how flattering an upstart the general was. However, these words made his divinity react for the first time in the entire meeting. Finally his darkness was incorporated on the throne, and he ended up sketching a half-smile. "You see, that's the attitude." Then he cast an angry look at the two kings who were complaining bitterly. "Unlike the two of you, if you are kings it is because of my help. You should be grateful for that, not complain pitifully like little children. You have lost. You are idiots. The plan was perfectly designed, but there are forces that we were not able to neutralize. Idiots." His divinity finished the sentence by hitting one of the armrests of the throne, and that made everyone feel great pain in their guts. Everyone present screamed. There was silence in the room. King Reginald of Arcio retook command of the meeting. "It has indeed been a tough defeat with short-term consequences that we have to solve. But the important thing is to analyze the causes of failure. It was not the result of our incompetence or a betrayal of our cause. For if this were the case, none of you would be alive right now." Adrian was wounded in his pride. The battle plan was perfect, perhaps not so much the use of cavalry on the right flank. Everything was going well until that explosion. The priestess, she turned the tide of battle. His divinity raised an eyebrow. Reginaldo, seeing his lord's gesture, smiled. "Arian, daughter of Enum and Madeira, priestess of the new cult of Elaban. He destroyed the Tower of White Robes in Tripulia. He freed the cursed from their curse and restored the triumph of Elaban to his temple, and now annihilates the Golden Lion Legion in the Battle of Burning Hill." Seated in one of the main places was the now Grand Master of the White Robes, Ferdinand de Bussy. "We have 5 jewels of Elaban, she guards the other 2. It will be impossible to obtain them before the Great Conjunction. There are still 15 years to go before the Great Conjunction. With each passing day Arian has more power, he can annihilate legions. The Dwarf King moved a little closer to the dais. Not only her. In the Battle of the Blood Mines, my best legion with its general, who was my right-hand man, was annihilated. They say that drowned by a trap, a lie, a dwarf managed to save his life, and he told me about it before he died. Elaban himself killed each dwarf one by one. It is impossible to defeat the cursed god. His divinity turned his head to look at King Broke Black Gem, who took a few steps back. That dwarf was not the only survivor. King Broke lowered his head in embarrassment. Queen Lantiana also spoke again. You don't talk much about Aris. He carried out the strategy in the Black Castle that was impossible to take and the tactic of the Order Hill. He set a trap for us in which, even if we took the hill, the battle was lost. Aris was the one who advised her father in the Black Empire's conquest of the Elven Kingdom of Tortanel. And he has the Black Sword of the King of the Cursed City. He is the chosen one of the gods. It was the King of the Elves of Borderlania who spoke. They had not forgotten that defeat. Ferdinand then took the floor to refer to another member of the company. The Kush Mage is powerful, his fire dragon is a magnificent spell worthy of any Grand Maester, and he is not afraid to use it on the battlefields. King Reginald could not calm so many complaints from the participants in the meeting about the skill of the mercenaries while his divinity listened attentively while putting his hand on his chin. It is impossible to defeat them and steal their jewels. They are too powerful. His divinity began to laugh at everyone's complaints and fears, which surprised his faithful devotees. Shut up, everyone! There was silence. True, Elaban is powerful, but he acts in the shadows. Arian is dangerous, but she has a weak spot. Aris is the chosen one of the gods, although he can be defeated, and Kush is an irrelevant secondary like all magicians, after all. As he said this, he turned his head to look at Ferdinand, who sat down when he was threatened. You can see defeat in the Iron War as a bad thing. I believe that, however, it is an opportunity. Victories make the ego grow. Our heroes have proven to have no rivals in Shanaris, so it's only natural that they don't refuse to act if it has to be saved. The Elf King smiled more calmly. We have woven a spider's web over them. The fly does not enter it except when it has the utmost confidence that it can get out. Soon you will receive instructions. Reginald continued his master's words. Rest assured, things are happening as planned. Soon the threat of Elaban, Arian, and Aris will be neutralized and our master will be back in Shanaris, to our joy and happiness. Such was the conviction of these words that everyone was calmer. Except that a character who never spoke appeared in the middle of the stage. You are forgetting the most important of all. He was the Dark One, an immortal of the First Era. He was part of society from its beginnings. The oldest member of the society, he always attended the meetings, but never spoke to anyone. Some did not even notice his presence. Always hidden under his golden mask, faithful servant and essential for his return. His divinity paid attention. The words of the Dark One had to always be taken into account. Who do we forget? From the other half-orc, Agnorok. Reginald smiled when he heard that name. That wretch almost cost him the throne and had wounded his most precious collaborator forever. That ragged. It's crazy. Agnorok is the most dangerous of all. You must finish him off before anyone else. Insisted the Dark One. What you say is nonsense. He has shown nothing that makes us consider him a greater threat than the other three. Reginaldo replied. But the Dark One only spoke in the face of the divinity who gladly took on the challenge. What do you know about him? The same as my lord. The divinity only smiled. Agnorok at a very young age killed the king of the vampires. Commented the Dark One. As you well know, the king of the vampires was crazy. He wanted to destroy Shanaris. Sooner or later someone would finish him off. Replied the divinity. Everything he has done has been thanks to Laban. He is not a threat. Ferdinand said smugly. The Dark One retreated backwards when he saw that his statement was denied by the rest. You must finish him off, otherwise he will kill all of us gathered here. Murmured the immortal, a disastrous prophecy. But no one paid attention to him anymore, although the name of the half-orc would be taken into account, but he was not the main threat. The Dark Man's words influenced General Adrian, who put his hand to his right cheek. He wanted revenge sooner rather than later. He calmed down in the meeting, knowing that his lord had a plan to take down the mercenaries who interfered with his machinations to obtain the jewels to bring Shanaris back and dominate the orb along with the members of society. The meeting is over. Adrian opened his eyes and spat out the stone, putting it back in the box that he had to hide in a place of total trust. He would wait for the orders of society, but first he had to find out everything he could about the mercenaries and especially about the half-orc.